I'm sure that anybody in the front office would have asked themselves one or more of these questions at some time, and these are the types of questions that we would hope to help you be able to answer using components built by us here at Sage Query. So here we have a number of components that we have put together representing a trader view. This is only one possible configuration. Everything here is in component form, so you can have whatever components you would like. You can place them wherever you like. You can have the layout as you like. So here we have the trader blotter. These are all just mock trades. So we have the different trades coming in here. So this is something that everybody will be familiar with. The other data that we see here is probably less familiar, but it's also something that I think would be extremely useful to a trader if they had the ability to access this data at real time. So let's select these ISPIMs here. So here you can see all of the components have updated for this particular security here. Starting at the bottom here, we can see any related industry moves. We can see the last 1 week's trading history. We can look across the curve. We can see we've got 39 securities here. You can look all the way across the curve to see any spread moves, volume, if you have that data available from somewhere like IHS. You can dig down into your trader pricer, so you can see things like positions and where you have things marked and so on, and some other security data. You can see external pricing if you have those available. And here I think this is quite interesting. Here, this is a component that we built which basically allows traders to input certain parameters to help them in their pricing. So here we can set the pricing model to a position-based model, and we are going to assume that the market bias is bullish. So here, if we look at the previous trade inquiry, we can see that the client was a buyer of these ISPIN 25s. We can see we have a zero position. We quoted an offer of 96.20. So here we can see that we were the first out of 5 prices, so we were the best price. Now what this model will assume is that you don't necessarily want to get taken short something that if you have a zero position and you're bullish, so that price is probably too low. So we're seeing here that it immediately tells you the best price away was 96.83, and that was on Bloomberg. So the assumption here is you want to just miss the trade. So you want to just miss the trade by a couple of cents so that you will hopefully not get taken short, but you will also be competitive enough that your client will want to come back to you on any subsequent trade inquiries. So here at 96.20, you probably would have been taken short. Here at 96.85, you're likely not to get taken short, and you could change the parameters. So you could be neutral, you could be bullish, you could be bearish, to just aid the traders with their pricing as in real time as you have incoming inquiries. You can also look at relative value. So here we have, you can see we have 20,742 bonds. So I think this would be useful for traders, salespeople. We can say, let's have a look at European IG bonds. And you can see we're filtering down. We've got 4,300 bonds. And let's go down to consumer durables. We've got 79 bonds. So we can see here immediately spread versus maturity here. Let's just change the scale a little bit. So let's say 0. And we'll take out the outliers. So let's say we'll go out to 400 basis points. So here we can very easily see the 67 bonds in the consumer durable space between 0 and 400 basis points. So it's very easy to filter down from tens of thousands down to less than 100 with just a handful of clicks. If you wanted to do client analysis, here we have a list of all of our clients. So let's pick somebody like Wells Fargo. We can pick Wells Fargo, and we can see the data for that particular account. We can see the amount of business that they have done by industry. We can see by desk, so we can see most of the business that they've been doing in our randomized scenario here is with the USIG desk. We can also see, if you select an industry, what trades they've done in that industry. You can select the desk, and we can drill down, and we can see exactly by desk what inquiries they have been sending into the desk. We can look at a line chart of the volume history, buys versus sells versus traded. We can see what our hit ratio is, and we can see what our buy-sell ratio is here as well. So here we have, if you're a salesperson, quite often it's quite challenging to input all of the client inquiries. So you could do something like a very simple GUI here. So we can say, let's put something in again for the USIG desk. We can select, say, these France. We can select the client as MFS, verb. He's a potential buyer of, let's say, 10 million. We can see we have an immediate reference value here. If we say it's in spread, it's a spread of 77. We'll say his target is 80. And that's a hard target. And you can also put contextual data in here as well if you would find that useful. So we could say something like, could do up to 10 or something like that. And you can immediately see here that the client interest panel here has been updated with that particular inquiry. And this could then be broadcast across the bank, across jurisdictions very easily because once it's in our database. Another interesting thing that we can do is notifications. Here we will select the 26s. Let's see, 1.25s expires tomorrow, and we can say that the client is La Banque Postale, potential buyer of 10. We can see the target here would more likely be 130. And we can hit save here. And what you'll see is that it has appeared in the notification table up here. Because we've recently had a trade, so you can see with the Toyotas, it wasn't updated, but with the ACAFPs, it appears in the notification table because we've recently had an inquiry. So this notification table could be on the desktop of the trader and the salespeople so that you can immediately see that there has been some recent inquiry. The fact that it says off color here means that this is the same way as the previous ticket. So if it was green, that would be an opposite ticket, in which case it might be worth calling the client to see if he traded away. But here you can see that the client is actually the same way as the previous inquiry. So again, it gives you color that, there are some buyers out there. Risk managers would also find some use. So here what we've done is we've taken all of the different trading desks, which we have here. I've mocked up 14 different hypothetical trading desks for our data set. And we can look at the risk by country. We can look at the risk by position. You can see where your risk lies per trading book. You can drill down into individual industries, and you can also obviously do things like maturity. If you had ratings data, you could easily do that. You can basically add any parameter that you want. If you wanted to drill down into an individual desk, again, sticking with the EUIG, you can select your European investment grade desk, and we can see exactly the jurisdiction where the risk is concentrated. We can go position by position here. We can see 546 positions. We can see there's 2 trading books. You can see where the risk lies there. You can see where your maturities are, as well as you can drill down into the individual industries. Other possibilities are things like looking at external APIs. So here I'm using the SEC API. So we can select a company, let's say Apple. And now we're looking at the latest 1,000 filings by Apple. You can sort by type, so we can see things like 10Ks, 10Qs. You can select, and it will take you to the source document. You can see the news. We also have some sentiment analysis on every Apple headline in the last week. We're going back and we can see what the average sentiment is for this particular stock, and we're using the Veda library here. So you can also do things like select the 10K, and you can see the source document here, but in addition to that, you can also get a condensed version of the 10K in a separate component. So rather than having to wade through the entire source document, you can very quickly have components built so that you can pull out the 10Ks, you can pull out the 10Qs, whatever it is that you would be interested in, just to make it easier for you to get to the data that you are interested in. We can also do things like using things like OpenBB, which is a very useful service that's relatively new. We can do things like look at news sentiment. You can have these generated in real time as well. So here we can see the news sentiment for the S&P. I think we've got the top 200 stocks here. A nice little heat map. You could obviously do this for bonds as well once you've got the mappings. You can do it for equities and bonds. You can do it across a capital structure just to keep you appraised of what sectors are moving and where the sentiment is for those particular sectors. And this is all free data, so we're not having to rely on things like Bloomberg. So where something like this could be useful is giving access to users that a Bloomberg would just be too costly. So I think there's a number of data sets out there that you can ingest and present to people internally without expensive data licenses, without expensive Bloomberg licenses. There's a number of options out there, and really it's just a question of what exactly it is that you need to see. If you prefer, we could integrate our components into existing BI tool providers, such as QuickSight or Power BI. Some other enhancements that we are working on include voice-to-text modules to allow users to manage components without the need for a keyboard using OpenAI's Whisper along with other NLP modules, more complex trader pricing algorithms to aid more accurate and efficient pricing, and enhanced notifications allowing users to incorporate a wide range of parameters, including price, volume, specific company, or associated industry news, and other factors. And of course, we're always happy to work on specific ideas that you might have that suits your individual use case. If you would like to discuss a demo or how we could work with you, then please get in touch. Thanks for your time.